Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Prey. So it's a new day, I just loaded in, and as I was loading in, one of the loading tips, which honestly at this point in games, those little loading tips or backstory tips, I guess in this case, have really failed just in the fact that if you're playing on PC and you have an SSD, you're not really going to even have time to read the loading tip, let alone comprehend it. Uh, but I did notice it was talking about how the Talos Corporation's board of directors is a shadowy corporate group of investors that are like shady to say the least. Does that really change the story much? A little bit, I would say. Not really a lot though. Uh, we need to get through this arboretum, and we're just going to investigate the weapons locker and then these three different uh, elevators to see if we have any codes. We are now in a situation where there is a madman running around putting recycler grenades on buttons and doors and things that would kill us instantly. There is an achievement for getting killed instantly and recycling yourself. That being said, there is unfortunately also achievements for running through this entire game using only or all, I'm not even sure which one it was, of the human abilities, and then only or all of the Typhon abilities. And doing both of those, there's even an achievement on top of that for doing both, which really would mean you potentially would play this game 3, 4, 5 times. I really question how you would not get any ability, human ability at all, because that means you would get the first neuromod in the game and then not use it. In fact, not use any neuromods until you got a Typhon ability. Unfortunately, there is also an achievement for running around killing all the humans, which we can see I've either killed 29 or 2 humans, probably 2. So I've missed the achievement for not killing any humans. Also, I probably don't have a way of not of killing everybody. So potentially you'd have to play this game 3 times, or just really look at the achievements and spoil the game for you before you even did anything else. Let's see what if we could waste the Q beam on this. If we can get the angles right, I think we could probably blow up this. Very possibly that is playing it too safe. Doing that, but whatever. If I was going to use the Q beam on these things, I would want to have this as its own weapon, and arguably maybe we are at a point where it does just make more sense to have this equipped than the wrench equipped. A single shot with the shotgun still is useful. There's an achievement for like killing 6 mimics at once too in with time slowed down. Which that is yet another thought, certainly. If anything, it really is just a case that they've refilled everything. We still don't have a access to the storage room, but you can see that door was booby-trapped.
During their stay aboard Talos I. Dr. DeVries promises to make them as
It almost
quick and
seems
painless as
like
possible.
the idea is supposed to be that... Alright, there's a nightmare. Let's go ahead and do the nightmare.
Vital signs critical.
Where that nightmare came from. Come on. I must be out of bullets. I can't be out of bullets. Alright, let's get out of scan mode. That was not visually interesting by any means. But there we just took out a nightmare, and that was kind of nothing. So we need a key card to get through the storage area. So it's not a matter of a code to get in the storage room. We could try and look at the map just to see if maybe there would be a different way into the storage room, but it doesn't seem like it. So here's the voltaic phantom corpse, or a piece of him. Here's the typhon organ from, I assume, the nightmare. We have a secret crate. What?
Research complete.
Alright. I'm just gonna shoot at this guy, even though I am living off of just the reticle there. So we can see that there's a lot more weavering going on here. And if anything, it seems like the weavering is...
Hello, are you here for an appointment?
Yeah, it does really just seem like they want at least 2 sequences here. Now, what's funny is I've shot a type 2 mimics, so I should have found 2 mimic bodies and organs, but it's going to be really difficult to find that. And I want to go up this direction,
Maybe
but
I can
the
help you.
Weaver is definitely pointing us this direction. We should just try and grab everything. Other achievements that really point towards this whole game being kind of demanding, over demanding, or eating every single like eating every single piece of food in the game. Let's go and make a quick save. There we go. Just stick with this.
Hello. Good to see you again, Dr. Yu. Diagnosing superficial injuries. Nothing a portable medical kit can handle. I'll have you feeling better soon. Good as new. Please fill out a patient experience questionnaire so I can serve you medicine where you are.
Oops. Alright, let's find this secret crate. It says it's 6 meters behind that door, which I question. I'm just listening to the audio to see if maybe something's gonna jump out here. Alright, well, we'll go to the Talos laboratory and find the secret crate. Talos lobby. I definitely feel like this is a situation where I might run low on shotgun shells, shooting a bunch of operators if they threw a bunch of operators at me. Otherwise, I might run into this is just pushing me further and further. I guess whatever, let's go to the lobby. Well, let me check, because I don't want this to push me towards like life support. And as far as research, we still have thermal phantoms, nightmares 2 more times. Seems like we can take on a lot of nightmares though. Let's see. And I just opened a couple more doors. Let's see. What was the secret crate? Alright, well, let's go down to the lobby and see what that does for us. Yeah, I don't think this is going low enough. Alright, so you know what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna quick load. Because we quick saved here, I guess, and let's just leave that alone for now. Like, unless that specifically is the only thing that pushes us towards actually going to life support, which would be weird. We have a broken turret.
Hello, are you here for an
here.
appointment?
We probably have plenty of spare parts where we could try to repair these types of things. That guy's flown away somewhere. Where is that greater mimic? Come on. Wasting bullets. You know what? I have an idea. Repair, fortify.
Structural upgrades detected. Thank you.
In a lot of ways, though, I think it is just kind of a waste of bullets to...
Thank you for updating and maintaining all of my medical directives.
Let's see. There is obviously a techno typhoon, whatever they are, called somewhere around here. And I guess if I had been if I had to come back here, say to get the I guess the silence handgun works on these operators well enough. If I had to come back here to get things, where'd he go? He's over here. To get the sprinkler faucet for the kitchen to move the story back forward, that would have made a lot of sense. It also just seems like maybe there's an argument that I should let's transfer some junk. And let's go ahead and transfer this gun too. It would be a nightmare to try to eat all of this stuff, though. It does seem like you would waste a lot of recycler resources. Inherently, the game, on a second playthrough, assuming it's a new game plus and you just start with a lot more resources on the second time through, I was walking through that. It makes a sound effect, but wow. So I almost got recycled again. It looks like the Weaver probably came from here and went that way. So we now finally have what seems like a human. Let's start with some shotgun shells. I'm actually a little low on other guns too. Mostly though, I would want weapon upgrade kits. I think I should probably consider that. Looks like we can also get a neuromod, which that wouldn't hurt either. And at that point, I think we are kind of out of everything. Just out of the mineral stuff once again. Yeah, it sounds like there's a whole new explosions happening in the guts. And there would be an argument to go to the guts, but not quite at the moment. Q-beam is fully upgraded. This is not fully upgraded. This is not fully upgraded. So we're still safe to make weapon upgrades on this. At some point we very possibly are going to go too far with it, though, and end up hurting ourselves. So I guess the idea is the Weaver came this way. The Weaver potentially was the one that reprogram the operators. I mean, there's definitely an argument towards running up this way, even though there's nothing on the map telling us to really go this way. But it would just be wasting bullets and fighting enemies that just don't really matter.
Structural upgrades detected. Thank you.
It does just kind of give the feeling that you should have these turrets fortified and stronger, but we never did find this fertilizer to put in the fertilizer dispenser to potentially grow plants, so maybe that's all future story too. I found out through an achievement, which spoiled the surprise there, that the mind jack ability can free humans who are taken over and psychically being controlled, which I guess means, in a funny way, you're probably very unlikely to ever. We still have yet to get to the bridge. You're very unlikely, I think, to be able to not kill any humans without taking on the Typhon abilities. So seems almost like they intentionally have a balance there. May 23rd. Where if you want to maintain your own humanity and save all the humans, you're probably going to have to do something that's more difficult than just throwing null wave. This is a kind of great example of... Come on, hurry up. It's kind of a great example of how the weapon selection wheel has just broken. I've often thought we need to add something like a middle mouse button scroll wheel to weapon selections at this point, because so many games have so many guns. Like, we are very far away from a deep thought of... I don't think I have the range to shoot that. I don't think a Q-beam is worth it. It does kind of feel like you should have some kind of sniper rifle type weapon. I don't think that actually killed it. Something's further here. One gal right in front of me. Nope. We want this gun there. Yep. I practically never want to change the layout once I put something in a position. Do we have the code? No. Do we have hack level 4? We'll deal with those later. Yes, we do have hack level 4. I'm gonna have to hurry though. Ooh, I've already... Can you cancel and quit one of these? I am definitely not warmed up on this. This may not be as hard as it seems though. Yeah, I kind of had plenty of time there. So let's just look around with the scanner, and then we'll...
Attitude adjustment required.
Eradicator auto turret. Is that some kind of new turret? You definitely are screwing over other people by taking all the resources yourself. But that is the very video game thing you would do. Is that you would always pick up all the resources immediately and use them. So it's just like an upgrade, a weapons upgrade kit, a shotgun here. Like, the chances of you entering this area and not having these weapons is almost certainly 0. So let's go ahead and deploy and fortify. If these levels were multiplayer levels of a sense, this goes to the bridge and it looks like we can take the bridge, so kind of would like to investigate the bridge. I almost wonder where'd he go? Okay, so I almost thought that maybe the Weaver Pass are these kind of permanent things that if you knew they were coming, you would be happy to take advantage of. You know, at this point we might as well just hack this too. I'm just bouncing around way too much.
Requesting new operator.
Like, and if these operators would fly around and fortify the turrets for you.
TranStar Cobalt 14. And clear of aperture.
So if this guy would run around and fix the turrets, that would be great. Do we have any objective on the bridge? No. So everything wants us to go to the cargo bay at the moment. Yeah, if a turret was in this area before there was this Weaver thread, and then the Weaver thread shows up, and it took control of the turret and hacked it, that would be interesting. Certainly. But that doesn't seem like that's the case.
Scanning target error. Insufficient time and material found. Standing down.
There's something somewhere around here. That is very possibly the same greater mimic. Or a second one. I feel like I missed something. Yep, I did. Alright, so now I'm going to assume I found everything. So deep storage is this way. Secret crate is that way. Alex's escape pod is that way. I don't think we can actually get that. Fortified seems like it might be worthwhile. You definitely would be playing more of a difficult game if you were using the Typhon abilities, in that the turrets would go from potentially being a little bit helpful to being enemies that could really hurt you. And I guess here, in this case, a recycle grenade couldn't possibly go off, but I do suspect that a recycle grenade might go off this way. And since we walked past this before, let's go out here and investigate the exterior. Just to kind of see if there might be something out here as far as the atrium exterior worth investigating. There's another achievement for finding, finding every single corpse, and that's probably what this mostly is. So I'd assume where we are is we're exiting just like the top of the space station. And so we've been there, and that's no longer marked. Airlock shuttle bay, airlock power plant, we haven't done that. Hull breach crew quarters, maybe there's something there. Airlock psychotronics, airlock hull breach crew quarters. We don't need to be in scan mode. Hull breach crew quarters. We got this music playing. In this direction, there's just kind of nothing. There's the moon. Alright, let's investigate this then. I am fairly unfazed now. You would have to... You'd have to... Yeah. You'd have to throw something pretty big at me. So if I can just get past these cystoids. I think that's everybody there. And this is the fitness executive suite. Ah. So now that's been incapacitated. We saw this guy from the other side of a window.
Scanning target error. Insufficient Typhon material found. Standing down.
Right.
Proximity sensor reset.
So this is the other side of the crew quarters and the executive suites, which is not something I was really expecting to run into. And it definitely seems to me like it's a case that the mimics can't exist in space. Like, we haven't seen anything like that. Maybe the mimics mutate into something else, or maybe they simply just suffocate. This is an interesting idea, certainly, as far as having things floating all around. But noticeably there's no computer here, and unless we found something behind the window, definitely seems like there's very little that we picked up. Alright, well, there's another executive suite over here. I don't know what these long ropes are supposed to be, whether those are supposed to be wires. What would be funny about that, though, is if those are supposed to be wires, then you've created a situation where the wires can be curved, and they look pretty good curved, not terrible at least. And then we've seen them just poorly placed in other cases where we've seen wires cutting through walls. Okay, so science operator corrupted. Apparently science operators can be corrupted. Now, could I fix this whole window in some way? Interesting they use the phrase live specimen when it's not alive in the first place. Does kind of make more sense, pause now if you want to read this, that there would be more than just 3 executive suites. There's a lot of weird sound effects that play when you're just rotating yourself around. There could be things floating around anywhere here. It definitely feels like the design of these levels is around kind of a, we're going to make areas that are open concept, and then we're going to add to that less important Here you can see the glass is all floating around. I'm also completely out of bullets as far as handgun bullets. Ooh, we got a chip, which arguably makes this whole trip worth it. I'm just banging against the wall. Like, is there any way, though, you could really breach that? I don't think so. I think you would probably never be able to pull it off. It makes a great argument for there to be, like, emergency panels. Some kind of an emergency switch of some sort. But yeah, the emergency door is clearly here and wouldn't ever open up. Let's see. I assume I already collected that. Just make sure. Nope, we didn't collect that. Right. I feel like, in comparison to BioShock, what you would have is a situation where every area, for the most part, is necessary and worthwhile to investigate. This allows way too much. Let's see. Well, that's still being marked, which makes me think that there possibly is a way to fix that. Just don't know what it is. Alright, you know what I'm gonna do to start with is just see if we can deploy this and just have that.
Structural upgrades detected.
There you go.
Thank you.
You just now float in space and shoot anything you see. Yeah. If there was supposed to be a way to fix this. Oops. What in the world? Why was that equipped? You would think that there would be a button or something. Yeah, and that's just gonna use way too much glue. Alright, well, let's investigate the rest. Multiple objectives, and then... Like, I don't think we have a dead body. Airlock. 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 Hull breach, crew quarters, hull breach, crew quarters. Let's go to this other hull breach. Apparently there's two of them. And investigate that. It's so incredibly dark at this point, it makes a lot of sense that the game would adjust for that. I'm fairly certain there was another hull breach. But maybe once you visited an area, it goes away once you leave the area completely, leave the exterior completely. I want to be somewhat careful to A, not collide into things, but B, not, yeah. Is this the area I was thinking of, or is this a different area? That doesn't seem like that's anything. And there's a lot of wasted 3D modeling and animation, I would have to say. I mean, I don't know what else you call it than waste. Something else attacking me? Medical operator. Where is it? There's a medical operator attacking me. Which, immobilizing a medical operator probably is not useful. Let's shoot it. You can notice how much you're getting knocked back, and there's how much of a recoil even at a fully upgraded level. With the shotgun. I almost died there. If I get enough neuromods, it does definitely make sense to like does make sense to potentially get past the upgrade spot for better use of health. So this isn't a hull breach area. I don't know if this is the hull breach area I was looking for. I guess it probably is. So this is the other side of that crew quarters. Right. And we're hoping for something more than just a suit repair kit for all of that. These entire habitat pods are floating around, really implying that the whole... There's another chip. Pause now if you want to read that. Yeah, it kind of makes sense if the entire pods were movable, and so when you went to space they just shipped your own personal pod, although why ship the entire personal pod at all? On second thought, it may just be a case that they are fabricatable. What doesn't seem like is going to happen though is that I would be able to seal this hull breach again. That just doesn't seem likely. This is a lot of fiddling about, a lot of floating around. And unless we found a corpse here, you're probably not going to find anything too important. Yeah. There's no fixing that. There could be something anywhere around all this, including just a security loot spot. This light source. I don't think we've seen that before. They have a whole med bay section behind here, which looks like we'd have to carry out of the way.
Requesting new operator.
But you can get operators in space, so...
TranStar Pyramid 490 medical class operator.
So I scanned that just in case we need to come back at some point in the future and get free health refills. It would almost make some sense if that was the idea, is that the exterior was going to be more of your lobby area, and because it's more of your lobby area, then you can yeah, there's nothing back here. You could come back this way and get free health kits or health refills, get free suit repairs, free psionic refills. All of that would be very interesting. So that we saw one hull breach, we saw another hull breach there. Yeah. But yeah, overall, it does seem like that's a waste of time. It seems like it would be very nice if your suit turned on some lights when you were in space to make things brighter, or, I mean, some other solutions I assume would also be available as ideas. It definitely also seems like when you come out of a certain airlock, you probably are connected to the exact same exterior, but you are pushed in such a different perspective that you're not likely to find everything from any angle. So it almost becomes like a hidden object puzzle when you first walk out of the airlock, in the sense that you'd have to fly for a very long time to adjust your perspective. Alright, so this deep storage was locked by, I think, her old girlfriend, Danielle Shu, who then went and had a rebound girl with Abigail. Now, we're playing as the female MU, Morgan Yu. If we were playing as the male Morgan Yu, I wonder if any of the genders would have swapped there. Because I wouldn't be surprised if it was the case that Danielle Shu, with all her voice acting, was the same, was always a female. But I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Abigail, the rebound girl, turned into a guy, or if this is a narrative that if you were playing as a male Morgan Yu, everything stayed the same. It would be the easiest solution, definitely would be, for everything to stay the same. Alright, before we do anything else, let's look at these new chipsets. We've got resistance to electronic damage. Might as well install it now. Which we have one beam shielding and one extra beam shielding, which almost makes it feel like they're random in what chips you can find, which that wouldn't be particularly fun. It says resistance, it doesn't say total immunity. And then we've got extra things here, so we might as well equip something. Psi pull by 50, reduce psi powers, resistance to fear. Let's see, reduce cost to morph. Let's see. Critical enchant, critical wrench. Speed scan. That's what we want equipped. Okay. I don't need fear. Definitely want speed scan. I definitely want the ability to detect mimics. You'd almost never take that off. If I could get shotgun critical equivalents for the other guns, that would be nice. Null wave transmitters don't even seem like something that happens. Wrench critical. Reduce morph. Yeah. Wrench critical plus is it? I wish you could kind of sort these after that point. Speaking of sorting. The range going up on the glue gun still makes some sense. Only have 2 neuromods, so we really wouldn't accomplish too much there. Eating each food doesn't make a lot of sense, just for an achievement. It's better to we're still short on bullets. 9mm bullets in particular. Shotgun shells are probably pretty fine. And if I got really desperate, I could certainly make some spare parts with the extra guns I have. Data wise, we apparently scanned a poltergeist. I don't even know what the new thing is. We have finished Voltaic Phantom. Okay. The game is definitely taking us backwards and forwards through the menu, and there's far too much menu manipulation happening in this game instead of just regular gameplay. So my question is Daniel Shu vindictive, and did she lock this because of that, or did she lock it because it's dangerous?
Identification required. Please repeat the following words. Bovine, chasm, entropy, erroneous.
Bovine, chasm, entropy, erroneous.
Interesting. That's an interesting security feature too. Although I bet it's not as secure as you might think. A voice print is probably pretty easy to fake. I'm gonna hit right here under this just to see if there's something maybe there. But the idea that it's not a password and voice print, but the idea that the computer would just challenge you and say these specific words you probably would never have said before does prevent somebody from just recording your voice and repeating it. which would be very easy in this world, obviously, to do that.
Director level override. Lockdown engaged.
Sorry, Morgan, but I have to lock you in this time. When I traced your arming key, it was to keep you from making a huge mistake. It's too late to stick our heads in the sand. We're committed now. You should be safe in deep storage. When everything is ready, we'll meet in my office. I hope you believe me. I really am on your side. You're just not yourself.
So we've been locked in.
Welcome to deep storage. If Talos I had a subconscious, this would be it. You're looking for the central repository. That's where you stash the drive that has the plan for your arming key. I'll see if I can find a way out of here in the meantime.
So it's still very much Alex Yu versus January, and December is long since been murdered by January, and yet I guess we're supposed to just have forgotten that. Where did... There's a phantom. Can I shoot this guy? Not with that gun, I can't.
You ripped open a 9 in my brain. I see a horizon filled with teeth. It is coming closer. Maybe it is what you see. I'm hungry. I'm always hungry. I will wait, and you will come out. Nowhere to go. Nowhere to go.
So, yeah, Will Mitchell there, the crazy guy. Maybe he is arguably supposed to be like
Requesting
the
new operator.
like you, in that he has maybe some
TranStar Cobalt 14.
Every dark bit of data that moves through the station is captured here. Redundant backup servers are stored in modules that eject in the event of a catastrophic failure. The fact that they haven't yet is telling of Alex's refusal to face reality.
So Central Repository seems to be full of spying. Seems like it wants us to go that down there. The idea that you would have just like 4 different phone calls in a row, I think really highlights the flaw here. IV St. Christopher, protect me. Make sure you let the new guy in. 1085. Fabrication plan for ammunition for the Huntress Bolt Caster version 3.2. Seems like the version goes up each time. But unless that Huntress Bolt Caster eventually does damage, it would be crazy. See. And then this is yet another person with the treasure hunt, which I'd have to find kind of an area map before I could really do the treasure hunt further. Right, so this is just outside space. I thought that was a room. Okay. So yeah, you have a lot of tape backup drives here, indicating
Software version authorized passed.
there's a mimic there. would have jumped out at us. And here we have a technopath. This really has just made the whole game really, really easy. Once you've upgraded all the weapons. Which, if anything, this just kind of highlights that there's a solution, obviously, in which you can play this game one way. And there's a solution in which you can play it another way. But once you've hit the solution either way, here's a bunch of wiring that you're walking on. Like, once you found one of the two solutions, what was once a game that was very difficult became very easy. Which, that's not as good of a thing as it seems, because we have to not forget how incredibly difficult this game was to begin with, and how it did push me, like, let's just double check here, to play on easy. So, potentially chasing after an achievement, and beating this game on easy this time, and well, that is a lot of people, and then playing the game a second time, potentially to beat it on hard, and then beating it on a third time. Right, stairwell access. Is there a booby trap here? Well, there's no reason to hack. So that's gonna take us that way. Upward to a data vault. Let's investigate the rest of this area. There's enough stuff around here. There's a real inconsistency visually from what you would expect the technology to be with this level of success. Like, to be able to build a space station and have a whole space station environment with artificial gravity, which they barely explained. They did explain it in the guts section. Another corpse. Is there some way to repair this? I wonder.
Coming through.
Hello, Dr. Yu.
Warning. Radiation poisoning detected. See.
Thank goodness we have this.
Medical attention.
If we do have radiation, what happens if we shoot? I did not mean to shoot the turret. Yeah, it doesn't seem like you can shoot radioactive things and blow them up, which would probably be the nice thing. I was thinking maybe down at like head height there might be a secret cache wherever we see one of those. We can't shoot and blow them up, so I assume main idea is to probably just avoid them.
Coming through.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a suit upgrade that yeah, we'll throw that way and see if that does anything.
Come to you.
Moving.
Scanning. Neuroimaging shows your mental resources are depleted. This should help. You should feel more alert.
So this is an unpowered door. So we have to unseal the door to get to the central repository.
Warning. Radiation poisoning detected. Seek medical
It is questionable how
attention.
much of radiation poisoning you can really take. So there's just like 2 turrets there. Yeah, and it just doesn't feel like there's a good system here to get rid of that radiation. And so at any point, the game feels like it can throw you through a well. They could just put a radiation thing somewhere to stop you from easily walking from one place to another. Let's go ahead and take the shotguns and this, and I guess this is our security station, even though it feels very much not so much like a security station. Go ahead and unlock that. Central access. Critical door error. Well, we're over here. Let's download the area map. So we are here. If we go up, that would take us up that way. And then B1 is that way. Doesn't seem like it's too big of an area. Let's just take a look generally here as far as the crew. Seems like we are, maybe each time we enter one of these we get a new listing of people, but there's not even a category here for central repository. And there's just like no emails. They didn't even bother to have any emails this time, so they've given up on that idea. Meanwhile, that doesn't... We didn't find a code for a password, so let's just make a hack here.
Requesting new operator.
And it's interesting to have a medical one in the security office. You would think that there would be
TranStar pyramid.
devices like this
Zero medical.
Diagnosing.
that...
Looks like you've had a rough day. Try to relax. Don't forget to
I wonder if that
complete a patient
removes
questionnaire. Your feedback will be
radiation
invaluable.
too. See, you have a science operator here just kind of floating. We kind of get the feeling that he possibly where'd the mimic go?
Coming through.
Is that 2 mimics or just 1? Guess that was 2. Did we check this area? I think we probably did. Come on. Are we just infinitely spawning more mimics?
Again, Dr. Yu.
So there's a whole second like story to this, and it definitely seems like you could just have done something like this, something like this, and something like this, instead of using the stairs. Pause now if you want to read this. Some note. Pause now if you want to read this. Akande. Let's go and check this bottom part since we didn't really look. I guess the thing to potentially search is, do we even have a recycler and a fabricator in this area? Because if we don't, then we potentially have a situation where I'm gonna fill up on inventory spot stuff. Let's see. Recyclers are green, fabricators are purple. Both of which seem to only exist in the command center. Okay. Good to learn. And so it seems like the game itself is trying to create a situation where there would be a lot more verticality in the level design and the enemy placement. You know what I want to do is think we'll break apart some of these guns for spare parts, because I think I've probably wasted a little bit of spare parts, and that'll free us up some room anyways. Let's see. It would be really crazy if the bolt caster actually could hurt enemies. Like, I definitely have seen that in other games where you have a like really weak early weapon, usually, though it's still a case that the weapon does some level of damage. Not that It does no damage at all. Pause now if you want to read this.
Coming through.
Play Me Babe. Fabrication planned for the Hunter Boltcaster version 1.3. I've seen a version 2.3 or 3.2 as far as the weapons. Play with me, babe, not play me, babe. Oh. Pause now, I guess, if you want to read this. Maybe there is something to be said about the fact that people are really having a lot of fun with this Boltcaster item, in that they weirdly don't have any kids in space, and yet they're playing with kid products. Alright, we got a Weaver. And so yeah, not that much of a challenge, even the Weavers. Radioactive waste if green is safe. It seems. I don't know if we're supposed to see something here or what. We have an unpowered door that looks like it would lead towards more escape pods and shuttle pods, unless these aren't escape pods. So I imagine, if I was to guess, we're going to run into maybe some humans that we could send off into space and save like we've done before. There's no med kit here. There's nothing here, even though really feels like there should be something here. Just checking, just to see if that wasn't perhaps a looking glass mirror. Item scanning and highlighting could be improved a little bit in this game. If I could just go like this, look around and go, okay, everything is now marked, or everything is now glowing a little bit more. Although at some point some games do go too crazy with the glowing. Interesting. If we look at the map, we are here, but it does definitely feel like there might be a way to get up there. Jump incredibly high. There was there is a neuromod physical modification that would let you jump incredibly high. This has to be hacked, so we know that there isn't anything really important here. Wow, that was smooth. just a little room. Volunteer database, enter volunteer ID, no volunteer ID. Can you put this in the safe? Thanks, please. EMP charges. So this is the only way you could get information on the volunteers, which nothing there. Really? I guess maybe computers are shipped through these tubes. That's possible. So I assume that that probably is a whistleblower thing. We're gonna have to figure out a specific volunteer ID. Volunteer being questionable as to whether they're really volunteers or not. Meanwhile, there's really just no reason not to take the neuromod and the disruptor stun thing. As far as neuromods, we have like 5 right now, and we can unlock basically anything. We really probably don't need more psychotronics. I didn't really see an achievement for just going full engineer, so there I think is probably a pretty good argument to just increasing your health. Combat focus I'm not interested in, stealth I'm not interested in. I don't think I would want anything else here. If I did want anything else here, it would be Mind Jack, which is here. So yeah, it actually says here, it also frees humans from Typhon mind control. So I could do this, and I could do this, and I could free a human. If we find any humans. Or I could just take toughness, or I could just live without toughness. Alright, let's make a hard save. And we'll do it. We've already blown the achievement for not using any Typhon things. So, that and that. It says now you have enough Typhon material in your system that turrets will consider you a threat. So, yeah. Nightmare is hunting me. New objective. Alright, so let's get our gun. Where? Wow, this has just become a whole spiral. That's an interesting system. Where are you? Where'd the nightmare go? Almost die again. Alright. Let's get out of this mode. Turret broken, turret broken. They're just considered enemies now. Now would be a time to do the well-fed bonus, so let's just eat one of these and then so I can't even hold the Y button down now and pick a specific direction because it's going to move based on whatever I have equipped before. And this really just highlights how there's just a whole spiral system here. I now need to make some cube bolt ammo. With a Q gun ammo. I probably won't even use the mind jack ability that much. That being said, I also don't want to fight the nightmare more the second time, so I guess I'll leave it at that. I don't like that these operators are so poorly programmed that they float up in the air. And yeah, it still seems like there's a higher path up there somehow. Daniel Shu was the chief archivist, which is interesting.
Scan complete. New sound
This is the one that does the fire damage. And now we've got a mimic. See if we can just find the mimic and blow the mimic away. The thing about the mimics too is that since they are small, the shotgun works even better. Pause now, I guess, if you want to look at this. Which really does highlight how the shotgun is just your best gun. Right, so this guy
Inspecting. Your suit integrity is compromised.
works fine for us. Don't have the code for that yet. Pause now if you want to read this. Pause now if you want to read the rest of that. 2 neural mods. An asteroid fragment. There's nothing on the download station. Interesting. Wonder what that's about. Now I have a security key. Still, kid signal to a tracking bracelet is a violation of TranStar policy. Do not deactivate a tracking bracelet for any reason without proper authorization. Modifying a tracking bracelet must have written approval and may not be deactivated by those with director level. Must have written approval and may only be deactivated by those with director level clearance. So if we had a bracelet ID, we could do that. Interesting. So there's just a ton of tracking going on, which no surprise there. Files wise, we have charge plans, and we have our last map. ELB. Elevator B. Maybe. Or extra level B. Yeah, I have no idea where that would be. We can look at the map here and just see. Yeah, it does not seem like there's anything to that. So, the whole treasure level thing. So I could hack turrets now. And that's the only way they would be useful to me. Let's just look around in general.
Maybe I can help you.
So if anything, it does just kind of feel like your best bet, game-wise, is to destroy the turrets relatively fast and early game, then get mine jack, and then just stop worrying about it. Here you have what looks like a kind of interesting computer, and I wonder if it is just a case that you're constantly they're constantly fabricating more and more computer components. It's funny, as I looked here and then I pressed on the D-pad and it moved the selection. So if you wanted to use the D-pad to swap a weapon, you wouldn't have that as an option. And if you want to get up higher, that's the way to get up higher. Let's start though with this. We can transfer junk easily. I think we probably need a few spare parts. Suit repair kit. Let's see. We'll snap half of that and put that there. And then we'll move that to that. Let's see. As far as food goes, if it's got metal, we want it recycled. We can recycle half of these. So yeah, if you definitely were gonna do the achievements around all of this, you would run into problems quickly as far as having to eat things that would be better off being recycled. Right. Get rid of this extra gun, Hunter's bolt caster. Would turn into a spare part, so we should dismantle that. Also, we get rid of that because we don't need more than a full stack of that. There's also an argument to getting rid of some of the food items. Let's see. Alright, recycle all that. Okay. I'm gonna switch to the glue cannon being a default weapon. Reload that. And then Q-beam. Definitely needs weapons before anything else. Apparently we can make null wave transmitters, which I guess you don't really need so much of that anymore. Q-beam cells. I will, I suppose, dismiss any future nightmares if we, after we've scanned it the full amount of times. Like, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense to stick with that if that's all we're doing with it. I don't even think I'm going to focus though on handguns. I got the handguns, bullets would probably be alright where it is. And just like that, we're out of the minerals, so we can't craft anything. I suspect we won't find any more fabrication plans. The null wave transmitter was the last one. We could potentially bend over backwards and try and see something here. Like, we could get rid of half of these and that would save some space. We have a ton of disruptor batteries. We could also certainly benefit from glue if we had some. Get rid of that beer. Suit repair kits, we could probably get rid of half of those, but there's no reason to because it's giving us a resource we don't need any more of. Still have yet to figure out what Mikhail's booster shots are about. We just haven't run into Mikhail yet. That's a lot of resources. More than I thought I would get. And I did all of that to craft what in particular? A weapon upgrade kit or neuromods. You know what, let's just see if we can get a couple more neuromods. Now, as I understand the story, though, you're still using Typhon information when you use a neuromod, no matter what. So, I didn't see any real achievement that said you wouldn't. You get an achievement for not using any neuromod in the game at all. Clearly, the game wants you to use neuromods. Let's see, we have a new suit chipset we should consider. Protection against physical damage. What kind of damage am I taking the most of? Resistance to electric shock. Regenerate stamina more quickly. We don't need that. Yeah. Regenerating stamina more quickly might be interesting. We have been collecting more Q-beam footage. Yeah, I do think if I was to going to go run into the nightmare anytime soon, I probably would decide to use one of my signals to send it away, because we're a little low on bullets. What is our objective though? Find a central repository deep storage. We're looking for Grant Lockwood somewhere. We'll activate Grant Lockwood's training bracelet. Tracing bracelet. Okay, that is what we're trying to do. Okay. So do we have a note as far as what Grant Lockwood's tracing bracelet would be? I think it would be an email. Say 4-digit number. You'd think it would be something more. Like, how in the world would you be able to figure out which one of these is the important ones, which ones isn't the important ones? Okay. Like, what? We would need a bracelet ID. Each of these volunteers have a volunteer ID. Adrian Holland. Grant Lockwood is not on this one. Whiteboard. Files. Charge plans. This is from Alex Yu. Okay. Rogue operator. Pause now and really try and read this. Okay. Download station. Okay, for the fun of it, I'm going to jump up here, jump up here, and jump up here, and then we're going to walk across this area. I guess it's worth remembering that there were points in the game that were quite like this before, where there were higher areas and potentially corpses and other little secrets to find. I imagine there might be more of that in the game than I have found, but I also kind of imagine I wouldn't be surprised if there is not as much of that in a lot of places. It definitely doesn't feel like the game went out of its way to make it obvious that there were higher sections.
Are you here for an appointment?
The weirdness here is if you're supposed to jump up to that, I feel like I'm gonna fail and fall. But if I was supposed to get to a higher spot, I don't know exactly how they reach there.
Diagnosing. No trauma or illness is detected. I'm afraid there's nothing I can do for you, unless you're interested in medical trivia or a joke.
In a lot of ways, this reminds me of Deus Ex Human Revolution, which I haven't played the newest Deus Ex game, Mankind Divided. But in Human Revolution, there definitely were some places like this where they had thought of pathways you could crawl and things you could investigate. But it wasn't very consistent. Like, the truth of the matter is, it's just not realistic to expect a game developer to make one good level and then have 5 other pathways on that good level. Alright, I'm just gonna prevent myself from falling to my death. See. Digital signature, Dr. Morgan, you. So I thought we were going to come over here and find some other stuff, but we probably just have to go to the central database first. Yeah, I just don't know how you actively would have reached that height. You can go up here. You can go up here. It does really feel like only the ability to jump extremely high would get you to that area.
Hello, are you here for an appointment?
So we have this kiosk and we don't know what number to put in. Let's just double check the objectives. So we really don't know. 1129. There we go. Alright, we got it. It was in the objective. Just had a little bit of trouble figuring that out. In part, that is because the game is broken. Well, it's broken me in the sense that whenever I see these numbers, the game has just told me the answer. So now we know exactly where he is. He's in the Talos I exterior. We don't know who the imposter cook is, so we couldn't turn on or figure out how to track him. We haven't made any progress there. Find the tree with the lovers inside the arboretum. Ooh, I could have done that. And then as far as the maps go, container 3232 in cargo bay B. Which we just have to find container 3232, I assume. Do we have any other ID of anybody? I bet there isn't a single other number that you could type into that. Maybe there's one other person's employee IDs that's been mentioned. But it would be very much a nightmare to try and read through all your notes to figure out where who has a different employee number being mentioned. Meanwhile, as far as these treasure maps, it'd be nice if they were all in their own little subfolder. We found one number. If we could find two other numbers, that'd be close enough. None of these locations help us much, but the pictures probably tell us the general location of where it is. So the little tornado reflected on a horizon symbol in the lower right corner probably matches up with that area. That being said, like, this area has to basically be the bridge because it's the, or maybe the power plant. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Some of this stuff too doesn't make a lot of sense. Chef Illison maybe means that Annalise Galagos might actually have something to do with this. So if we searched for her and made her the next person to follow using a security station, that might make some sense. Let's see if we can do that. Right, we are here. The security office is under us. Since we aren't particularly getting anywhere with having this person, Grant Lockwood, as our person, let's see. Everybody in deep storage has already been done. Now we're looking for Annalise.
Hello, are you here for an appointment?
So we already found Annalise. Let's see if we can find Mikkel. Then Mikkel, the real Mikkel, would have been the chef. Now we could also, I guess, simply look for Alex Yu. But I imagine that doesn't matter too much. Mikkel is probably in the crew quarters. Again, we're playing way too much menu hero. He wasn't in the crew quarters. Gravity Chief, not Chef. Kitchen Staff. What concerns me here is that it's very possible that I can't find Mikkel on this list because his tracker bracelet has been deactivated, and I found the tracker bracelet, and there might have been an employee ID built around that. I bet that's not really the case. So that didn't get us where I wanted to go. Oh, this rogue operator is January. An operator follows and orders commands to later. Morgan may have built an unlicensed model, and if so, it would have access to station protocols. It'll take the matter to the board if I have to, but I won't have Morgan's actions place the station in jeopardy. So they're talking about January. Yeah. So this Michaela Ellison probably is not the chief, the chef. We would need to know who the chef is. I need to be better at reading. Elysian. Definitely doing something weird. Josh Dalton. Jorgen Thornstein. Yeah, there's just several different people here that you would have to go through this whole system and say, have you found these people or have you not found these people? If you have found them, are they important or are they just random corpses? Some of these people somehow are still alive. It would make a lot of sense to look for these living people more than anything. But if you're going to find all the bodies in like this case, you probably would have had to have killed this person instead of saving them. So by doing the good thing, I may have already made it impossible for me to actually do everything in the game. And again, I guess that's just going to come down to a new game plus potential in this. And I'm really not sure I would buy into the idea of a new game plus concept, because the first experience of this game has been very much centered around a lot of grindiness and not quite enough video game elements. Yeah, there's a lot of names here. But yeah, this Franz Klinger is probably who we're looking for more than anybody. That's probably the crazy guy. Or Will Mitchell. There's Will Mitchell. He's an arboretum. Yeah, none of these names strike me as... There you go. Michaela. Found him. Yeah, if I want more gameplay, I probably should just be looking for the normal people. The people who have life signs. I guess I don't have to worry about broken turrets.
My mistake. Diagnosing. No trauma or illnesses detected. I'm afraid there's nothing I can do for you, unless you're interested in medical trivia or a joke.
Okay. Caution to gravity transition. So that's where we're going, is down there. There's just a lot of other stuff. And as far as objectives, we need to go to the central repository and deep storage. And then I guess at that point we're probably going to kill the imposter cook, which maybe means he only planted a few of those grenades, booby traps. I honestly thought the whole game would have all of that. And Julian Howard and Arboretum. Let's see. Which is, I guess, a side mission. And then the Talos smuggling rings. I'm still not sure how we'd really find all of that. And the treasure maps. I'm still not sure how we would do that. And we missed something in the cargo bay, I guess. Well, we haven't been to the cargo bay yet. Actually, we haven't been to the cargo bay. Interesting that all the airlocks are locked at the moment. I guess that's another way the game is pointing out that we can't access those. We do now have Typhon DNA, and we'll be attacked by turrets. That's not really going to be a big problem. I guess the real question is, can we use a mind jack on a boss? Or not. Or even if we could mind jack a boss fight, which it seems like that's what the kitchen guy is going to be, would that really matter? I wouldn't be surprised if he actually just turns into a Typhon somehow, and he is like the first presentation of how humans turn into phantoms, and kind of reveals that the named phantoms we've been finding up until this point were humans, in some level in the past. Does it really wouldn't matter too much. Like the stakes are just incredibly low, it feels like to me in this game, and so we're just churning along, going through the narrative. And I mean, maybe if you just ran through the game the first time and really enjoyed it at a very fast pace, you would then want to play it multiple times. Maybe it's more of a case of you're supposed to run through it the second time. That is also a possibility. But this definitely doesn't feel like a Resident Evil 4 situation, where when Resident Evil 4 first came out for, I believe, the GameCube, there was nothing like it. And there wasn't anything like it for a very long time. So it was very justifiable for people to potentially play Resident Evil 4 when it first came out. Then a year, 6 months to a year later, playing it a second time. The game is very playable in that way too. It's designed very well around the idea of just, let's do it a second time. Let's find the collectibles we missed. Let's see if there's a different solution to some of the problems, or if we could just win because our weapons are upgraded more. Compared to Resident Evil 4, the guns here do get upgrades, but they don't feel very impactful, and you're never really struggling to have bullets because you're wasting bullets in this game. You're struggling to have bullets because the enemies are bullet sponges, which is not quite what happens in Resident Evil 4, although it can be the situation if you're playing particularly poorly. But yeah, I seriously doubt over the course of 10 years, Prey fans would play it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times over. There's definitely no characters or dialogue, even though Resident Evil 4's dialogue is very cheesy. Having Sadler, having Salazar, having Leon throw out quips and talk and just be sarcastic makes much more of an action movie feel than what we're experiencing here. This feels like this is trying to be something like the Aliens movie, but even in the Aliens movie, or Alien, the first one in the series, there's actually a lot of dialogue that happens, even though there isn't that much action in the first movie. You're about halfway to 3/4 of the way through Alien before you even see the alien. But there's a lot of dialogue, a lot of build up. All we have in Prey is a lot of atmosphere and then jump scares. In fact, their entire concept is built around, let's do a bunch of jump scares, which doesn't make the game scary. I won't say Resident Evil 4 is particularly scary either, but at the very least I would say Resident Evil 4's zombies are better thought out as horror elements than a jump scare mimic that is relatively easy to kill and super easy to scan once you have the scan ability. They really shouldn't have had the scan ability, and mimics themselves probably should have been much more of the focus. I could see taking this concept to the next level and have several mimics in every room, and then after about the first act you recognize that the mimics start to merge together and become greater mimics, and then they merge together even more to become weavers, and then they merge together more to become phantoms, and then they merge together even more to be nightmares. So you would then have a motivation to kill things fairly quickly, otherwise it shifts the gameplay attack style completely to a bigger character. But even at that, you could balance that out fairly nicely, where instead of having 6 mimics attacking you from all sides, they merge into one greater phantom that only attacks you from one side, and then you can shoot and aim at that better. So I could see some people deciding to kill the mimics early, and some people potentially waiting until they would merge into a phantom. Unfortunately, what I'm describing doesn't happen in Prey. At least we haven't seen it happen yet. I doubt it's going to happen. Instead, we're just getting almost... It's clearly scripted, but it might as well be random spawns of enemies. I would also say the other problem with this game that we're continuously running into is that the story and narrative is far too branched and all over the place. There's like 5 different narratives I should be paying attention to, and because I don't really have the capacity to pay attention to 5 stories at the same time in parallel, I'm not paying attention to any of them. At best, there's just this subtle feeling that yes, there was a Morgan Yu who was more of a kind of corporate evil character, and then she lost her memory because of the neuromods, and the character you're playing as far as Morgan Yu, seems to be kind of a nicer character if you play him that way, but also you could be playing the character as a much more evil character and just killing everybody on first sight, humans and mimics, both. There is a weird thing in that there's kind of no way to play this game without shooting mimics. So a pacifist run concept would be incredibly difficult. You would just have to stealth throughout the entire game and run and take damage, and it would be extremely grindy for probably no reward. So if for some reason you were going to side with the mimics who are attacking you, you can't do much to them other than maybe glue gun them just to run past them. But yeah, I definitely am not enjoying the story. We'll leave it at that because I don't want this to go too long. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's also a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and give me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.